This episode is proudly supported by Crunch. Running a hospitality business isn't for the faint-hearted. Between ordering stock, scheduling rosters, paying bills, motivating your team, and keeping customers happy, there's a lot on your plate. It's no surprise that business planning often gets put on the back burner. Well, here's something that can help. Introducing Crunch, a new app to help simplify the business side of hospo. With Crunch, you get access to practical, bite-sized education, proven strategies, and a supportive community of hospo owners just like you. When it comes to the Crunch, if you're looking for proven ways to build a successful, sustainable business, Crunch has you covered. Try Crunch now. To get 14 days free, just head to crunchhospo.com.au.
I bloody love what I do. I get to go out there and live my dream. As grubby and archaic as it may seem, going out catching a fish, on my own boat and providing it to the public is just a dream come true for me.
Nestled along the pristine coastline of southwest Western Australia, the picturesque town of Busselton serves as the home port for Anthony Heslewood, a dedicated artisanal fisherman whose craft is steeped in tradition and passion. Busselton is renowned for its turquoise waters, abundant marine life, and its iconic jetty that stretches into the Indian Ocean, making it a quintessential fishing community. The region's unique blend of warm currents and cool breezes creates an ideal environment for a diverse array of seafood, from mollusks to finfish. Anthony Heslewood embodies the essence of artisanal fishing, a practice that values sustainability, quality, and a deep respect for the marine ecosystem. Unlike many large-scale commercial operations, artisanal fishing is a labour of love, where each catch is carefully selected and every method is designed to preserve the health of the ocean. For Anthony, fishing is not merely a job, it's a way of life, where knowledge of the sea and its rhythms is as important as the tools used to harvest its bounty. In an era where mass production often overshadows tradition, Anthony remains committed to the art of artisanal fishing. His approach is characterised by small-scale, low-impact methods that ensure the freshest and finest seafood reaches the table.
I'm Anthony Heslewood. I am a wetline fisherman in the southwest of Western Australia, based in Busselton. It's been a long process, really. I mean, since I was just a small boy, my father was involved in local beach seine fisheries and some crayfishing in the Abrolhos Islands, and so a lot of our family friends were fishermen. He himself ended up not pursuing that, but we still had this strong fishing sort of theme going on, and I guess through my years, I actually went to university to become a marine biologist. And whilst I was at university, all the marine biologists I met couldn't get a job, so it kind of turned me off the idea a little bit, and I ended up leaving uni, and just happened to bump into one of our old neighbours who was a wetline fisherman down at the shops one day, and he offered me a job. So I jumped on it, and he was a wetliner. So I stayed with him for 6 years, and it's probably the best apprenticeship you could have ever had, I think. He's a local legend around here. And then I went from there onto a local deep water crab boat. So we're catching snow crabs and giant crab down in the Southern Ocean, and some crystal crab up at Kalbarri, along with western rock lobster. So I did that for 2 years, and I had really fortunate positions. So working with Will, he taught me everything there was to know about catching fish. And working with Adam on his crab boat, he really taught me a lot about the ocean and boats in particular, and driving vessels, and sort of broadened my horizons a little bit. I was only ever around Busselton, and then he took me up the States and all around the place. So I kind of got a bit more of a view of the fishery as a whole.
The name Revolution Fisheries perfectly encapsulates Anthony Heslewood's unwavering commitment to the future of the seafood industry. It reflects his belief in the need for a transformative approach to fishing, one that challenges the status quo. For Anthony, Revolution Fisheries is not just a business name, it's a statement of purpose. It symbolises his dedication to sustainable practices, innovation, and the ethical harvesting of seafood. By embracing this revolutionary mindset, Anthony aims to set a new standard in the industry where the health of the oceans and the quality of the catch are paramount, ensuring that future generations can continue to enjoy the bounty of the sea.
Well, the idea was, with the naming of it, we really wanted to revolutionise the way people look at seafood. And we've got our slogan there, seafood differently, because that's what we want. We want people to look at seafood in a different light, not something that's, it gets a bad rap in some circles about, we take all the fish and we do this and we do that. But the reality of it is that every fisherman I know has a deep affinity with the ocean and the conservation of it. So what we wanted to do was showcase our local produce in a way that really shined and that was also very sustainable. And we wanted to sort of bring that education to people around methods that can achieve that and have a really pristine product that people could appreciate and enjoy.
The inshore and open ocean fisheries of southwest Western Australia are truly unique, offering a diverse and vibrant marine environment shaped by the meeting of the Indian and Southern Oceans. This region is characterised by its stunning unspoiled coastline, where rocky reefs, seagrass meadows and sandy shores provide critical habitats for a wide variety of marine life.
So we're a completely line caught fishery. So we've got two main fisheries in the southwest here. We've got the inshore fishery, which is sort of like jewfish, pink snapper, all the common kind of inshore species around here. And when we target those, we often just use a rod and reel or a hand line, with one sinker and 2 or 3 hooks. And we pull it all in by hand, and everything's done by hand in that sort of inshore fishery. And then there's the offshore fishery, which is where I predominantly do most of my time out there, targeting big aggregations of nannygai and other deep water species like barcod and harpooker. Just because, one, they're just so much more abundant, and it's such a sustainable resource out there. It really doesn't get very negligible recreational pressure in that deeper water, as opposed to the inshore fishery, which has had a lot of pressure for a lot of years from both sectors. So I think it's sort of a double-edged sword. We can go out there, we can catch a few more fish, but also it's more sustainable to participate in that sort of offshore fishery. We've kind of got a bit of a methodology around the areas we fish, and try not to fish the same areas too often. We like to move the boat as much as we can. So we sort of fish between Bunbury and Esperance in the Great Southern, which is, almost 600 miles of coastline. So we try and target, different areas from different times, just to try and alleviate any pressure, any prolonged pressure on the fishing ground. And from shore, we're often 40 to 50 nautical miles from shore. So it's a long steam, and it's, we're predominantly a day boat. So, that can mean that we're driving for 10 hours before, in and out, and we may only be fishing for 4 or 5. And, you've clocked up 15 hours on the water. So they're long, hard days.
The life of a sole fisher operator is one of dedication, endurance, and a deep connection to the sea. For Anthony, the day begins long before dawn, with hours spent driving to the wharf where the boat is prepared for the journey ahead. These early morning drives are just the beginning of what can be a grueling and long day. Once on the water, it's another long stretch to reach the fishing grounds, often battling the elements as the ocean presents its own challenges. The hours spent at sea are a test of skill, patience and resilience, as the sole fisher must navigate unpredictable weather, manage equipment and ensure a sustainable catch.
When I very first started the business, I was fishing out of a place called Windy Harbour. I'd never even been there before in my life, but it was the only fishing license I could get at the time. So from my house, that's 2.5 hours just to get to Windy Harbour. So every morning we would drive to Windy Harbour, 2.5 hours. We'd jump on the boat, and then we'd go 3 or 4 hours out to sea, and then go fishing for the day, and then turn around and come all the way home again. So we're putting in some enormous hours to bring the fish home, and sometimes we will do, if the weather allows, we'll do a 2 or 3 day trip. But these days, particularly because we're really trying to have a really fresh and immaculate product, we predominantly just do a day trip. I mean, it is pretty hectic at times because I am just really a one-man band. I mean, I've got a deckhand that helps me on the boat, but all of the other communicating and everything else is all just done by me. You know, I've got a pretty direct relationship with everybody on Selfish there, which is great because as busy as it gets on the phone, sometimes you really get a lot of feedback and you foster those relationships to just to make everything work better. You know, if someone needs something done in particular with the fish, or they're not happy with something, or whatever it may be, we can cater to everybody.
For a fisherman, dealing directly with distributors, retailers and chefs presents a unique set of challenges that go beyond the demanding work at sea. Navigating the complexities of the supply chain requires not only an understanding of the market, but also the ability to negotiate prices, manage logistics and maintain relationships with key players. Distributors often seek consistency in supply and pricing, which can be difficult to guarantee when dealing with the unpredictability of fishing. Retailers and chefs, on the other hand, demand high quality, fresh product, often with specific preferences that require the fishermen to adapt quickly to their needs. Balancing these demands while ensuring a fair return for the hard work involved can be daunting, especially when competing with larger, more established catchers. This direct approach requires not only expertise in fishing, but also a keen business acumen and a relentless commitment to delivering excellence, all while maintaining the integrity and sustainability of the catch.
We've got a cool system on the boat where we can, so we slurry all our fish, right? We put them in an ice box with a saltwater slurry, around about 0 degrees, very, very cold. And once they're in there, so from the moment of capture, they go in there, and then we don't touch them again until we get home. We actually lift the boxes out with a crane on our boat into our dinghy, and then load the dinghy onto the back of the boat, onto the back of the trailer, and drive it all the way home. So the fish haven't been touched at all since we caught them. They've been handled one time. And then we come home, we back it into our factory here at home, and we just pack the fish out, and then they go into a chiller, and then the very next morning we'll have a truck arrive and take them wherever they need to go. We've got a very broad range of customers across a huge demographic of people. We, it often shocks people to find out that the same fish from the same load that we may send to people like Josh Nyland or Neil Perry also will go to the local fish and chip shop in Bunbury, or to a local restaurant down the road, or even to a wholesaler in Perth who will distribute it up there. We've got a really broad range of people we try and supply, and I'm quite passionate about making sure that locals still have access to local seafood as much as it's alluring, sending fish away and chasing higher prices and bigger markets and all of those things. It's great for people that live here to be able to stroll down to the shop and grab a nanny-guy that was just caught straight from their own backyard.
In the world of fresh fish, quality is everything. It's the difference between a good meal and an unforgettable one. For Anthony, ensuring the ultimate quality of his catch is not only just a job, but a responsibility he takes seriously. Anthony's commitment to quality is what sets his catch apart, making each fish not just a product, but a testament to his dedication and expertise.
It's been a long fought battle to get to where we are with the quality of the fish. I mean, starting out, having done 6 years wetlining with a great wetliner around here, I had a fair bit of knowledge around how to sort of have a nice product, but I didn't realise the intricacies of it and how much tinkering you can do. And we've had many sort of trials over the years where maybe we'll add more salt to the brine, or we'll do this or we'll do that. And, we've had some disastrous results along the way trying to do stuff. I remember one day I got a bit excited and I put too much salt in a slurry of nanny-guy. There was maybe 50 kilos in there, and I just added too much salt, not knowing really what would happen. And I was pretty surprised when I opened the box an hour later and they were all rock solid frozen. I wasn't aware you could do that, but, so there's been lots of little things like that along the way. And we had so we changed about 2 years into the business. We changed who our main wholesaler was. We decided to sell fish to somebody else. And when we started that relationship, that was really sort of transformative in our business. The guys there were really great with feedback and really helped with that tinkering process, and really I'd tell them I've done this time, let me know what the fish look like, and they'd let me know, and they've been really helpful and instrumental in really nailing down the process. To be honest, by the time we were supplying those guys. We had been, well, I felt like we're already doing a pretty good job, but the added lengths of, getting the fish to Sydney is a challenge within itself. And we're still even now, just tinkering with that process and trying to make sure that they're arriving, in A1 condition, because, you're up against freight companies and guys at the airport and whoever else that, no one cares about your fish as much as you do, you know what I mean? So it's hard for me to have it out of my control for that period of time when it's in a truck or in the air or on the tarmac. And so we're still working around some ideas and things to make that ship run a little bit tighter. But I think at the moment everyone's very happy with the process.
A good day on the water for an artisanal fisher is one where everything aligns perfectly with the rhythms of the sea. It begins with calm weather and favourable tides that allow for smooth navigation and productive fishing. The ocean generously offers up its bounty with a sustainable and high-quality catch that can meet the fisher's hopes or expectations. It's not just about the quantity of the catch, but the quality of the experience, one where skill, respect for the ocean and dedication to craft all come together in a way that reminds the fisher why they chose this path.
Yeah, well, I mean, for instance, my first ever day fishing, for example, I drove the boat from Augusta to Windy Harbour by sea, which was 60 nautical miles, with my father-in-law. Didn't have a deckhand at the time, so he jumped on board and helped me out. Went for a 2-day trip. And I remember we fished all day. We'd driven 6 hours to get into the area, and we fished all day. I didn't have a single spot on my plotter. I'd never been there before, so it was pretty nerve-wracking. And I just spent, $250,000 setting up this business. So I was pretty nervous about it all. And we just had a complete blowout of a day. I think by the end of the day, I had about 50 kilos of fish, really terrible. And we set the anchor, and I remember just lying in bed that night thinking, oh my God, what have I done? And, I was so concerned. And then when I woke up in the morning, I got up before Mike and I just staggered out onto the deck, and there was a line, I just chucked it in. And I pulled up a 70-kilo jewfish straight away, and I was just like, oh, well, that was a bit of a boost, I was like, oh, well, maybe it's not all bad. And then lo and behold, we went fishing, and it was a bit quiet for a little while, but then we found a school of bass groper that I don't think had ever been had any pressure on it. And, we filled the boat within like an hour and a half or something ridiculous. Like it was just on, and it just such a roller coaster, in such a short amount of time. I was like dreading, oh my God, what have I done? I'm going to go broke straight away to, well, actually, I'm going to be all right. Like we've pushed a fish. I can't believe it. So, and that sort of sums up fishing really. It's that gamble. It's that excitement. It's the unknown, I still now, when I'm driving the boat just on just a long steam somewhere and I run over a new school of fish, I still just pounce out of my chair, and I'm so excited by that hunter-gatherer kind of, you just don't know what's around the next corner. You never know what's going to bite your hook. You never know what you're going to bring up. It's just, and in our fishery, you can really, my first deckhand used to call me the 1 o'clock man because, my first year of fishing, I didn't have any spots, and often I'd be driving around till lunchtime. I couldn't find anything to even drop a line on. And then usually by about 1 o'clock, I'd have found something and catch a heap of fish. It's just so exciting. It's a bit of an addiction. A lot of guys are really particular about when they go fishing, the maroon's got to be in the right phase, or the barometer's got to be correct, or, you can't go fishing on off. A lot of people say, I just, if I'm able, I will go. And I think that's a big part of my success. I think you just have to be a bit of a risk taker, and you just have to have a go. It's oftentimes that you think you're not going to catch anything is when you do catch stuff. And I've got a bit of a motto, I guess, if you want to catch a heap of fish, don't take any ice, because it seems every time I think I won't catch many fish and I don't take a lot of ice, then there's just fish everywhere.
A small artisanal fisher in the southwest of Western Australia faces a myriad of challenges that test both their resilience and resourcefulness. The unpredictable nature of the ocean, with its shifting weather patterns and seasonal changes, makes planning difficult and can quickly turn a promising day into a struggle. Strict regulations and quotas, while essential for sustainability, add layers of complexity to their operations, requiring careful management of each catch. Market pressures are another significant challenge, as small fishers must compete with larger, more industrialised operations, often facing lower prices for their premium quality products. Additionally, the remoteness of the region can complicate logistics, making it harder to get their fresh catch to market quickly. Despite these hurdles, their deep connection to the ocean and commitment to sustainability practices drive them to persevere, maintaining the traditions and quality that define their craft.
There's challenges aplenty to be a fisherman. I mean, you've really got to be mad to take on a fishing business. It's a labour of love. I mean, if you haven't got the passion for it, you won't survive the first day. But it's, we've got a lot of challenges in management policy making. It's a real shame that a lot of our policies are driven by votes and not science, because there's a lot of faux pas being made there with the management of the fisheries, which makes it a lot harder for us to operate, obviously. And we have, across Australia, there's a dwindling portion of people entering the fishing industry, which is a challenge here as well. I recently have had to find another decade. It's a harrowing process, because there just really isn't many people available or interested. I'm optimistic in myself in the fact that I'm confident. I think that I can navigate the challenges ahead. However, there are a lot of challenges, and it's only getting harder. Every year I've been fishing, which is only 5 years I've had this business. Every single year there's been a new major policy change to fishing, which has made it harder. And every year things get more expensive. It seems diesel and all the rest of the upkeep is just expensive, and freight and all that stuff. And it's the thing that I'm optimistic about is it's really been a long process in educating people around. It's hard to tell somebody who's buying a $2 crimson snapper at the markets in Perth, that's come off a 14-ton unload from a trap boat up north. It's hard to tell them that $2 fish isn't equivalent to the fish that you're trying to sell them at for 10 times the price. You're trying to sell something for $15 a kilo, and it's hard to explain to them why it's $15 a kilo, not $2, because there's all this fish there that's $2. But the thing that I'm optimistic about is that it's really gaining traction on the education around why small volume line caught fish in this kind of condition is worth the extra money, and the sustainability measures we take and all the other things. So I'm optimistic around that, and it really helps having people like Neil and Josh on side, because we find, especially here in the West, there's not much of a voice for the people who are buying fish through restaurants and whatnot. So it's great to have these guys on board and really promoting these fish.
The Western Australian commercial fishing industry is a vital part of the state's economy and cultural heritage, known for its diverse and high-quality seafood, ranging from rock lobsters to abalone and finfish. However, the industry faces significant challenges, including the need for sustainable practices to protect fish stocks, fluctuating market conditions, and the pressures of climate change on marine ecosystems. Despite these challenges, Western Australia's commitment to responsible fishing practices and innovation continues to position it as a leader in the global supply of seafood.
Well, the fishing industry in WA she's a fickle mistress at the moment. I mean, we're the management issues that we have here are pretty severe, and it's a dwindling industry, I'm sad to say. We had a 50% reduction last year, which saw the end of a lot of businesses and a lot of fishermen. So it's a tricky one. But I am glad to see that, like the old school, there used to be a really old school mentality with fishermen about, don't tell anyone anything, everyone hates everyone, sort of thing. And that's really starting to subside, particularly in the younger fishermen I've been meeting around the country and talking to. And it's really become more of a collaborative approach, which is really fantastic, because, that's the only way that our fisheries will survive, and it really is the only way to go. If we all learn from each other, we're so much stronger. And I really do see a lot of that coming through, even in Western Australia now. And I think that's just fantastic that we're able to talk about issues, and we're not all screaming at meetings and, doing all these things. You hear all these stories of old about, we can sit down together and nut some stuff out and chat about things and work together. And I think it's only going to get better in the future. But also, because there's such a small number of us and our fishery is small, we don't have an enormous tonnage or anything like that. The line caught fish that comes out of Western Australia is really pristine. And I think it's one of the things that's really appreciated in Sydney as well, is the variety and species that aren't seen anywhere else. Like we've got WA jewfish and bulging groper, breaksea cod, things like that have never been seen in a lot of places, and because they're caught in such small numbers, they often either don't show up in retail stores and restaurants, or they get bought out so quickly that a lot of people never experience or hardly experience them. So it's really cool to see those things getting around as well.
For Anthony, the excitement of eating his catch in a restaurant is a uniquely rewarding experience that brings his hard work full circle. Seeing the fish he carefully caught, handled and delivered, transformed into a beautifully crafted dish by a skilled chef is a moment of pride and satisfaction.
Oh, look, mate, there's nothing better. Honestly, it's such a humbling experience to go into a restaurant. Even, in Busselton here, we've got a fantastic restaurant, O's and Tang, who takes some fish and, they just craft. Some of these guys are just so talented, and it's just so wonderful to see these fish that I've just caught, yesterday or the day before. And then these guys have gotten hold of it and just created absolute magic on the plate. And they're eating, and there's, a bit of bustle around. Some of the waiters might have said that, this is the guy that catches the fish, and everyone's sort of patting you on the back. And it's just really fantastic, mate. Like it's, that's one of the reasons I do it. It's just so great to see what these guys can come up with. And then, going to Sydney and having lunch with the likes of Neil Perry, or, going to Josh Nyland's restaurant, and these guys just really singing your praises, and then seeing what they can create as well with your product. It's just a really humbling experience, and it's just, something I'm really proud of.
Artisanal fishers are playing a vital role in the future of Australian fisheries by championing sustainable practices and preserving the health of marine ecosystems. Their deep commitment to responsible fishing ensures that the ocean's resources are harvested with care, prioritising quality over quantity and protecting fish stocks for the future generations. These small-scale operators are often at the forefront of innovation in sustainable methods, setting a standard that larger commercial operations can follow. Their dedication is not just about making a living, it's about safeguarding the future of Australia's fisheries, ensuring that the rich diversity of the country's marine life continues to thrive.
Well, for a long time, we wanted to do some sort of a retail outlet, restaurant / fish and chippy / fish shop, but we can't quite find the right fit at the moment. And, as I said, we've only been in this for 5 years, so it's not like I'm a third generation fisherman who's had everything sort of already paid for when it landed in my lap. It's, I'm paying it all off as I go. So for the moment, we're very happy with what we're doing, but absolutely there's a lot of ideas flying around about what sort of things we can do, or what sort of collaborations we might come up with in the future for some kind of a retail outlet for our fish. So we would love to do something like that. And, it is. It's really exciting. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I've got tons of ideas. It's just a matter of time. We've got a couple of small kids, and we'll get there. It's just not probably not right at this moment. We've got a fair bit on our plate at long dids.
Anthony Heslewood's dedication to sustainable fishing and exceptional quality has not gone unnoticed, earning him well-deserved recognition through various awards. These accolades celebrate his unwavering commitment to the craft, highlighting his innovative approach and deep respect for the marine environment.
Just so proud and grateful to have even been included in that conversation. It's even to be nominated by Josh Nyland was like, far out, wow. I mean, we knew we liked the fish, but it's a big deal nominating us for an award. He gets to see amazing fish every day. So the fact that he thought the ours was noteworthy was amazing. And going through the process where even up against, some of the great fishermen in Western Australia, we managed to win the Western Australian side of the award was just, it's just been a really, really humbling process. And just, we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve with it.
Aspiring artisanal fishers must carefully consider several key issues before entering the industry. The challenges of sustainability are paramount, as responsible fishing practices are essential to protect marine ecosystems and ensure long-term viability. They must also navigate complex regulations and quotas which require a thorough understanding of legal and environmental guidelines. The physical and financial demands are significant, with long, unpredictable hours on the water, costly equipment, and the need for resilience in the face of fluctuating market conditions. Additionally, building strong relationships with buyers, such as distributors and chefs, is crucial for success, requiring both business acumen and a commitment to delivering top-quality seafood. Balancing these factors is essential for anyone looking to thrive as an artisanal fisher.
I've seen a lot of guys get into it with the wrong idea, and that idea being that you're going to go fish, catch heaps of fish, make lots of money. So I think you really need to go into it with a realistic approach, but also just a whole heap of passion, because it's about going fishing for 20 hours and catching nothing, and then getting up again the next day and trying again, because that's what fishing is. It's just trying again, and you never know. And sometimes you just can't explain why you caught fish or why you didn't catch fish. You just don't know. And that's, you know what you did do and what you didn't do. And you know that some of the choices you made played a part in it, but you don't know to what degree. And you can speculate about moons, winds and all sorts of other things, but the truth is you don't really know. So it's about just having a go. You just got to keep going and keep trying. You learn as you go. And, I still learn every single time I go out now about things I should or shouldn't do and things that might need tweaking.
An artisanal fisher's love for their craft is something that runs deep, driven by a passion that defies the challenges and hardships of the job. There's a certain madness to it, the kind that wakes them before dawn, draws them into the unpredictable embrace of the sea and keeps them going through long, gruelling days. It's a life of physical toil and mental endurance. Yet there's a profound connection to the ocean that fuels this dedication. This love, tinged with a bit of madness, is what keeps them returning to the water day after day with an unwavering belief that their work is not just a job, but a calling.
Oh, mate, it's just, it just comes back to that passion. I bloody love what I do. I get to go out there and live my dream. As grubby and archaic as it may seem, going out catching a fish, on my own boat and providing it to the public is just a dream come true for me. I mean, it really is the pinnacle. We've got the fish to a point where we're sending it around the country, and the top chefs in Australia are praising our work, and we're fostering all these great relationships with customers and chefs alike. And it's just, mate, that's what gets me out of bed. It's just the opportunities that lie at my feet with these kind of things.
Anthony Heslewood is the true future of the Australian seafood industry, embodying the qualities that define the best of artisanal fishing. As a passionate and professional fisherman based in Busselton, Western Australia, Anthony's commitment to excellence is evident in every aspect of his work. His professionalism and dedication make him a leader in the industry, setting a standard that others aspire to follow. With a clear vision for the future, Anthony Heslewood represents the next generation of Australian fishers, ensuring the country's rich seafood heritage continues to thrive. This is Fishtales, a seafood podcast. A Deep in the Weeds production. I'm John Susman. Follow us on Instagram at Fishtales Seafood Podcast, or email us at fishtalespodcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay tuned for more tales from beneath the surface of the seafood world every Friday on your podcast app.